Hi, welcome everyone. My name is David Robertson, the Coach Education Coordinator at NorCal Premier. I have the pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, Paolo Bonomo today, NorCal's Vice President and our PDP Director. Before I pass it over to Paolo, just a few housekeeping things. Throughout the webinar, everyone is automatically on mute, videos are off. Please use the Q&A for questions if you feel they're relevant. The chat is not the place for questions, so Q&A for questions as the presentation goes. We'll do our best to answer as many as we can in the time that we have, and we'll go through this as we've done the last couple of days. This is our third webinar we've produced, and our goal as always is to make everyone just a little bit better. So we rely on the technology, so bear with us if there's any glitches or anything. So it could somewhat be out of our hands, but hopefully, cross our fingers, we'll get through it seamlessly. So again, Paolo Bonomo is our keynote speaker. I'm going to pass it over to Paolo. Please use the Q&A for questions, and we'll address them at the relevant times. Everything that this has been recorded. It will be shared along with all the material from the presentation itself, and the videos that you see throughout the presentation. So enjoy. Without further ado, Paolo Bonomo.
Thanks, David. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm really honored. I would never thought when we were talking to organize those webinars, then I would have had over 100 or 150 participants. So this is really, I mean, I'm astonished, and thanks again. I hope everybody is doing well in this tough time, and I hope your family as well. We know then we are really in time where nobody has expected, but for me, when I see this adversity, and I always look at what can we do and take out the best of the thing that we can control. And so far, through the meeting, then they have attended to NorCal, the RAC, the previous webinar. It seems like then all of us as a soccer community embrace it, the adversity, and make the best out of it. And because of this time and opportunity, we try to share or spend our time in the best way possible. Also, you know, reflecting or enjoy maybe the family more. Me personally, I never worked so much about this neighborhood with my wife as much as the last 3 weeks. So you know what I mean. So again, thanks, and we're gonna spend the next 40 minutes to an hour to share the knowledge and talk about the psychomotor. Psychomotor is, so in this slide you can see we have the game is the main piece. Is in the middle. Everything goes around the game. And tonight, you know, we have the coach, the club, and the player. Tonight, we're going to focus on the player. And those are the area of the play development, the 4 areas, which are maybe some of you call it a little different, but they are pretty much universal and shared from everyone. So we focus on the physical, and usually this subject we presented many times in the past. It was always in coordination. I mean, it was also always together with the coordination ability. But this time I thought to separate it and have 2 webinars, because even if they are interrelated, but there are differences, and you will see later on, and I thought it was important to separate them. So now let's talk about psychomotor. The psychomotor, the foundation of a player development. Before we dip into the psychomotor, I want a little paraphrase a few things. Number one, all this, and most of you, I think have attended, I saw from the name, are familiar with the Fiorentina method and the many courses that we had with Professor Vergine from Fiorentina. Professor Vergine, so this is, most of the material come from him. I was lucky to cross path with the professor probably over 10 years ago, where, you know, his knowledge is known, is a worldwide, definitely, if not one of the best, definitely in Italy. And, you know, and be next to him and spending many hours a day, and he was very generous in sharing his knowledge. Then I feel, you know, comfortable to, you know, to talk and about this subject, and obviously, you know, at the level from a coach point of view. This area, for some reason, always been one of my. I mean, I always felt it as a particular passion within the big pictures in the soccer and in the player development, for many reasons. One reason is that I believe that when everything in life, when you start in the right direction, you know, I mean, I don't want to say we say in Italia, half of the job is done. Maybe it's not half, but your point is a good start. And now, obviously, the psychomotor, you will see the age that we talk is at the beginning of a player that enter and play, and the importance and the focus of that. Second, also, personally, as first myself, which I grew up in a family of sports, my father, my brother, myself, and back in the days, the way we were free and to live, you know, I was leaving my house in the morning, come back at night. My father didn't even know where I was. You know, we were just on the street, play all different things, doing all different crazy stuff the kids were doing. And then as a father, I had 2 kids. They play soccer and they play sports. And I made sure that when they were young, at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, I signed them up, and they were going every week, couple times a week, to a gym and doing all the psychomotor activity, pre-acrobatic, and so on. So now let's start with the presentation. So the objective for me tonight is not explaining all the X, Y, Z, whatever, also because I'm not the person for that, but more to try to give you a very practical, for us as a coaches, that when we go, hopefully we resume these activities sooner than later, and we go back in the field, you know, we use it as a really in the pragmatic way, and just the few important things that we need to address as a psychomotor into the player development. So we will cover what is psychomotor, when, is the best age, why do we need to address it, and we need to then what are the main objectives, how to intervene, and all different type of exercises. So this is psychomotor. What is it? Basically is a motricity that is connected to the nervous system. So those are the two. We have, it's not very important that we know all the little, in this column, the walking, the bending, the kinesthetic, and all that. What was important is, again, to have the general reason of what it is. And I know that most of you already have done it, many of these things, so you are familiar. Probably you call it dynamic stretching. And now later on, I explain you why is a dynamic stretching for one age, but for the younger age, it's not dynamic stretching. And that's where the two objectives is different. So going to this slide, we can see that we have the basic motor skill area. We have the postural, which is related to when you bend, when you squat, when you do this stuff. Then we have the sensoperceptive. Those are the area that we need to be aware, because for the player to know what is around him. And then the pre-acrobatic, because soccer, you know, is a sport that you need to be acrobatic. When is the best time to develop this? Well, here the chart, you can see on the left side, the age group, under 8, under 9. I didn't put the under 7 and under 6, which it could be there. If there will be there, probably will have even 4 classes, not 3. The best age to develop it is the young age up to 8, 9, 10 years old. That is the best age. So this is not an opinion. This is pretty much a science. So there's not much argument. So this is important to know, because I know that a lot of us maybe get kids that are already past that peak, or maybe they come and they have only 1 year or 2 years in the club. Myself, if I will be director of a club and I have the possibility, I will have a program that starts young and where the kids can drop in, and we can talk later if you have also questions. I have some idea that I can suggest, but where kids come in and maybe they have a corner in a field where there are where they can go there and practice that. And then we can talk a little bit more about that later on educating the player, but also we need to educate the family in this. So you can see, is somebody who's gonna get better if they do psychomotor at 13, 14? Yeah, sure. Even later on, you can get better. But unfortunately, the train already left the station. It will always be a catch up, and it will never get that player or that athlete at the level where it should be in the psychomotor. Why do we need to address this? This is based on a reality analysis. You can see here and the picture is a little bit, you know, maybe a little too in the face, kind of. But honestly, we have this kind of problem. The problem that the kids, for many reasons, security and all that safety and they don't play at the park anymore. The street is pretty much gone in most of the places, not everywhere. The activity in school is, you know, even the PE that they do at the elementary school is, at least the experience I had with my kids, is honestly nowhere it should be. And there is a lot of liability, and we know all that. And then the kids, unfortunately, they live a sedentary life. There is no, I mean, it's pretty, it's nobody can argue in there. We move from play in the park, play on the street, to a PlayStation, or play with the phone, or play whatever game is now on you know, on the PlayStation or Xbox and so on. So this is really what we're dealing with, the 99.9% of the kids that we are coaching. And this is gonna somewhat damage their motricity and their awareness of where they are and what they need to do. So we know then, first of all, this is a study and test. If you go around the world, if you go a professional club from Italy, from Spain, from everywhere, Germany many years ago, I think they invested, I don't know, many millions of dollars, and they create the joy of movement. They hire an army of a PE graduate to go around the school and introduce they call it the joy of movement. So this is so if we look at, again, remember what I said at the beginning, one of the reasons is that if we start in the right direction, then we are in a good spot. If we look at from the early age, and I put here 6 to 12, this is an age where you want have the player fall in love with the game, play the sport for the rest of his life, and enjoy it. And enjoyment means that you have to be successful, because if you struggle, you cannot achieve what it should be. It doesn't give you the confidence. You know that most likely an athlete will quit that sport, either soccer or whatever they do. So it's kind of almost a preparatory phase where we need this athlete player to go for the rest when the game is a little bit with a different focus, maybe is gonna be more on the winning. Then you need some of them maybe go to college or whatever they go, and hopefully they play for the rest of their life. To be able to do that, we need to start with this. They need to have an immediate knowledge of their body. They need to know in a static and dynamic situation and in relation to the environment. And you will see later several examples on video, and we can talk a little bit more on that. This slide, why psychomotor is the foundation. If we look at this, you can start from the bottom, you can start from the top. You can see, first of all, on the right side here, we have the 4 areas of the player development: personality, tactical, technical, and physical. On the left side, you have the definition of what we think as a NorCal, okay, on each one. So if we look at and we start and we focus that the game is the most important, because at the end of the day, all we do is because they go and play the game. If we look at the mental quality, at the young age, up to 10, 11 years old, the personality is not formed yet. So you have a few quality and you cannot expect to have a 360 degree. So yes, we need to pay attention to all of this, but maybe they focus in the personality are in the few quality appropriate to the age group. Same as the tactical. The tactical because of the brain that the kids still forming, they cannot be complex. For example, that's why we play small-sided game, the 4v4, 7v7, because tactically also they are a little bit more simple. Obviously, we do it also for touches and many other reasons, but also because the tactical domain is more simple. Now we go down into the last three. The technical is the area where in the young age we need to establish strong fundamental where they can carry on and then improve over the years continuously. But to be able to do that, if a player doesn't have the support of the physical, the technical are gonna suffer. And the psychomotor is the first block of that. If you think that a player is like building a house, this is your foundation. If you have a strong foundation, that house is gonna last. That would be my best analogy in this one. Now, if we go in here and we look at now, we're gonna go a little bit deep into the psychomotor, and from there we will go then into videos where we compare and all that, and then everything will make a lot more sense. But if we take a motor skill, like a basic motor skill, walking, running, and everything, to be able to do that, we have the intervention of the body to the skeleton, right? The joint, that there are the central nervous system, because it can give impulse, move your arm, move your leg, or bend, whatever it is. Obviously, there is the breathing, there are ligament and that. Then we need also to develop with that the perception of space and time. Imagine a child that is start just walking, 1 or 2 years old. He has zero perception of space. He can walk. If there is a chair on the path of his walk, he's gonna walk into the chair because he still has not developed that. Just really an extreme. Ask your kids, even now, at the young age, or maybe even a middle age, spread apart 5 yards, 10 yards. I can tell you that if you have 20 kids, those 5 yards are different from one to another kid. They have no sense of space. Balance, very important into, the muscle control. Then postural, which is related also the postural and the balance. And general arm and leg coordination. So those are prerequisite to function in the psychomotor. So again, what is our focus when we address the psychomotor is to make the player aware of his own body, the whole body, and also the different part of the body, the different limbs, and also perceive and recognize the different feeling. So it's very important in our society where we live, which is a society that is developed, and there are a lot of wealth, and kids have all the possibility, is that we need to incorporate it in our training plan. If we will be coaching a team in Africa, probably you don't need to be focused on this, because over there, the environment is quite different than our player. Over there, they will develop on their own automatically. So, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, but we live in our society, so we need to deal with this challenge. So sometime here, this slide show that we might dealing with kids that have some talent, but if they lack motor skills, they will not fully their potential develop the game. So like I said earlier, if they start getting frustrated, they're not successful, maybe is one of the reasons they might also quit the sport. So the principal objective again is that we need to improve the body structure. So the psychomotor become a necessity. In this is we're gonna start with a series of video. I guess I wanna stop a second here. David, I assume that we don't have any questions yet. And I want to remind that.
Yeah, there's just been a couple that I've been able to answer straightforward.
Okay.
For example, someone was asking if the plus on the rubric indicates a priority, and yes. So far there've been a few ones that I've been able to handle. Thank you.
Yeah, and I wanna remind that you can ask questions at any time during the presentation. You don't have to wait at the end. So feel free and so on.
And use the Q&A versus the chat. The Q&A is for the questions. Thank you.
How are we doing with time? Pretty good. So I will run this video a couple times. And maybe the first one, I'm gonna let you observe and reflect on it. And then later, the second time, maybe I put my comment. But here, this video, the objective of this video is that we compare first of all the video that you will see here are players that obviously they are in a professional club. So they are high selected, top of the top in that area. And so we're not dealing really with this player. We're dealing even with the lower level of player, even more, a better reason to address what we've been talking now. But the purpose of this video, going back to this, is the contrast of a post-puberty. So these kids can be between 14, 15 to 16, and pre-puberty. Some of the exercises here are similar, and some are similar in the area, but have different type of exercise. Similar area of psychomotor, different type of exercise. So let's start. Focus on the player, the line that go to jump in here to the little square here, going left, going right, the yellow obstacle there. Here we see some arm and leg with high knee.
Although the video is not streaming as fluidly as it should, just for full transparency. You still get the idea, but it's not as smooth as it has been.
I'm sorry. I thought we tested and it
Yeah,
was working fine earlier.
the joy of a live webinar. These videos again will be available to everyone. I'll send you links. But we get the Paolo, just to be clear, we get the idea. There's 170 people on. It may just be the bandwidth and streaming the videos has had an effect on that. But we did test it several times prior, and it was working well.
Okay, I will try to do my best, and hopefully my message convey regardless the quality of the video. So now I replay this. So sorry, my bad. So if in this exercise, a post-puberty, probably they focus on more, agility, rapidity, and so on. So that will be the focus at this age group. Okay, you can see it can be good, it can be, could be better, but this is now in here. If we look at, and let me move more to the player that comes now in the yellow. Let's look at this. This player, when he goes in and out, and we see the arm, this posture, and everything, you can see then the focus for the coach here is not much focusing on the rapidity and the agility of this player, but it's more, if you look at the arm, you look at the trunk, the angle, you can see there is off balance. So this is where we need to help the player to improve and become knowledgeable that he can succeed, and then eventually down the road do this exercise more effective in a better way. Hopefully, sorry again. For some reason, sometimes it jumps. So again, I go back to this player and I'm gonna run it one more time.
Paolo, when you've done, I do have a few questions coming in. So
yeah,
at the right moment, let me know and I'll pose the question
very
to you.
good. I'll finish it in just a sec. Here, again, arm and leg. If we look at it, probably the coach is injury prevention because it's a part of the warm-up. He will look at probably coordination, arm and leg, and make sure that, but the main focus is trying to, because you can see they are pretty much solid and everything. In here, let's look at when they go especially backward. Here, you can see my bad. Let me go back again. I apologize for, if we go in here, this is an exercise where they need to have your arms straight and rotate close to the body 360 degrees. If you look at the player, this player here, his arm is all bent. Let's go back again. So that's what we talk, knowledge of your body, knowing what you're doing. So doing this exercise, our focus for that player will be, I'm gonna run it again, will be to make him aware of his arm is not straight, is not near the body, and is not really rotating 360. So for me, tonight, this is probably one of the most important messages to you is when for the coach, they go on the field, what do we focus when we deal with the young children? And we do exercises that we can call dynamic stretching. You can call it whatever you want, but the objective and the focus is knowledge of your body. Look at the player, second in line, his arm are all over the place. You want to go question, David?
Sure, yeah. First one's from Logan Lee, and he asks, how would you approach structuring your plan with regards to what aspects of psychomotor you prioritize first before moving on to work on something else that depends on it?
I'm not sure that I understand exactly the question. I don't think we want to have a psychomotor by itself without the rest of the soccer, like the game, the small sided game, or the technical ability. Generally, this psychomotor, you will see later more video, they are introduced obviously during the warm-up. Again, the objective at this age group is not for warm-up to prevent injury, but is exercise to make them knowledgeable of their body. So is in conjunction, they are all connected, they are all important. And now maybe we can talk, do I work more in this and less into, I don't know, you have a training and you play half an hour at the end of the training. Maybe sometime you sacrifice that little half an hour at the end, you might play a little shorter and you address a little bit more time in here. Another recommendation that I have for the group to think, a player, like in everything, is not only psychomotor, but that would be technical. It will be if he wants to progress, he needs to do extra, because the 3 hours, 4 hours, or 6 hours a week with the team and the coach is not enough. So how do we deal with that challenge? One idea is, as a matter of fact, we were talking, and maybe one day, I hope that one day soon, that we were talking to create a booklet like with a cartoon that address the psychomotor, something fun for the kids, and also as an education for the parents. A club can create something like this, or a coach, the coach team can, for their parents, create something like this, and educate, because with some exercise they can do, their player can also do at home. That will be, I don't know if I answered that question properly. If not, it can be a little bit more clear, because I'm not, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So both Bertine and David are asking about the amount of time you spend on psychomotor. In a 1.5 hour practice, typically, what's the recommendation from the methodology from Fiorentina? How long would you spend on the psychomotor?
Well, again, it depends first of all, what group do you have? I can tell you then, even us, when we go in PDP and we have kids coming from all over California, we can see the difference, the kids that live in the Bay Area where there is no space, or the kids that come from the Valley, Modesto and so on. We can see the motricity is different, because the lifestyle, the freedom is a little bit different out there than can be, for example, in San Francisco or in Palo Alto or in San Jose. We can see that. So the coach need to to see that. Then to have a good grasp, a good, a good temperature of where the kids are standing technically, because the technical then solve what you want to ask for the tactical demand. If it then understand is a technical deficiency is because he hasn't practiced enough and with practice is going to get better, or is coming because it's a physical deficiency. If it's a physical deficiency because he runs or the balance is off, or like we saw that kid just recently, then if you focus on the technical, probably you are going in the wrong direction. So is an answer then need to be, but usually at the beginning, your first 10, 15, 20 minutes that you see exercise that can be combined with the ball, with some of the technical stuff, that it can be death in general. But again, it varies, and a good coach should be aware of that.
Thank you. I have a few more questions, Paolo, but I'll get to them in a couple of slides. Yeah, so if you want to continue, we'll come back to your questions.
Now we're gonna go to different type of exercises. So and more what we do as a coach. So when we train first of all, we need to have a variation of this. Okay, for example, if you're running forward, you're running sideways, you're running back, you're running different directions. Then you can combine it, right? Running and jumping and so on, or crawling and rolling. And so you combine it. And repetition. Don't stop and just playing. Have them going, and then it's more a coaching on the fly. Have the kids experience personally, and through repetition, and more they will realize and become more comfortable in that particular. So this is one thing. Then we need to also make them aware of the body, the space, the environment, the time, and everything. To be able to do that, we need to use what we have in this slide. We have to introduce the visual. We have to introduce the command, which is, auditory, so the hearing. We need to use the tactile, they touch. Then they have all the sensor inside. Then they have also we need to introduce balance, which is dealing with the vestibular, in a dynamic and in a static situation. When we combine all this, then we have a good environment, a good mix that the kids experience properly the psychomotor. Here we can see some, and I'm not gonna stop much, but you can see the running line. So there gotta be some visual. The space is obviously helpful to the cone, and different type of running, aware of, of your body. Do I have the knee? Yeah. In this one is a little bit higher level. I've stopped in a second here. This one, now the space awareness is a little different, because a player gotta find the open gate and they go wherever they want. So that's another level. And once they reach that, then they need to mimic the same time, the same exercise of his partner in front. Here you have more type of a station with some obstacle, some, you have equipment. And you can see the variation. They've got a crawl there, zigzag, a little jumping. The next one is a somersault in a safety environment. A little bit loop around there, and so on. Here now we introduce the ball. They can, one throw it, you need to catch it. The other is bouncing on the other side. So that's another type of exercise that you can introduce in your warm-up. Here with the ball, you can dribble around and then change the ball. So they gotta go find it. So there is a little bit of space now. Here is more on a form of a game, which is kind of a tag, right? They gotta go around and try not to get tagged. And the other, obviously, oh, the last one, that. So this is more on the running. Here we have jumping, different type of jumping. You see, always in line, trying to be aware of the partner, visual, peripheral visual, and different type of jumping. Here again, if you have equipment, then you can add that, which added another level of difficulty. Here, in a casual format with the ball dribbling around, that you have them jumping 2 feet or 1 foot only, which involve posture, balance, and so on. Some crawling, some little with a stand, a handstand, now coming. And you can do also something like this in the form of a little fun, little game. Go crawl under, give the ball, run around. You can add, you can build up, or in a form of game, like by sitting 2 teams, they try to score, play against each other, and so on. Now we go into a video of pre-acrobatic, and this is also, I like to point it out. Look at the coach on the right side here. She probably give instruction on the fly, but she not once stop and let it go. So here they do some somersault. Those are just, they have experience. They have done this quite a lot. So maybe you want to build it up before doing this. Don't go straight. You can see here they do somersault with one hand now. You can see she talks, she gives instructions. Here, I want to stop a second. Putting some additional, like in this case, a pole to help the kids to keep the arm at the same level, because that's what the exercise require. To help the kids first is a good step from easy then to more challenge or more difficult that you will take the pole away. But the objective here is for the player to come forward with the arm parallel and not a different level, you know? And stretching, which they are not doing it that well. You can see some are doing better than others. And here is the intervention is on the joint mobility of the player. We are toward the end, so David, if there are some more questions, I'll be happy to take it now.
Sure. We do have a few. First one is from Jacob. I'm not going to try and pronounce the last name because I know I'll butcher it, but Jacob from SF Glens. Would you recommend our younger competitive players, U8 to U10, train gymnastics in the off-season to develop their psychomotor skills?
Absolutely, yes.
I knew you would say that, but the next part, let's say, currently we train futsal with these players during the winter. So...
Well, I mean, of course, they are both good. Ideally, as I said, the time that we spend with these kids is very limited. So there are a couple solutions. Either, first of all, in my opinion, you need to get the parents aware of the importance and of the psychomotor. And in this society, unfortunately, there is the risk that this is going to go away more and more. We had a problem 10 years ago, and now, as today, is even a bigger problem because of the iPhone, because of all that. So getting them on board and then educated for the importance, and also some support. It can be, like I said earlier, you can give few exercises, maybe post some video. You can use some of this video. Then pretty soon I'm gonna go over where you can get it. You can have your own video, whatever it takes. But I think as we tell a lot to our players, the one they are very motivated. Hey, you gotta practice on your own. Do the juggling. You hit the ball against the wall. All that. The same way, even when and these are even younger, because remember we are talking 7, 8, 9, 10. If you have a grassroots in the club, 6, maybe 5. Those, I mean, I think the sooner that you address this, the better they're gonna down their own benefit. So either way, so if you play futsal and see if there is always a time, or maybe creative to have something on the side where the kids can do that, or give a home program.
Okay, great. Thank you. A couple more questions from Nick Mandragradi. Is there a big difference in the psychomotor skills between an average U10 player versus an excellent U10 player? And yes. Is there a second part, is there a relationship between technical improvement and psychomotor skills?
Yeah. Okay. The first one. Generally, yes. If you take I mean, the player, they generally are high skill and you know, technically very good. I almost guarantee you that he has also a pretty good psychomotor skill, because otherwise the technical will not be good. Imagine if somebody is impaired in the balance, or doesn't know where the arms are, you know, technically, if you're off balance or the run is not proper, you know, when you dribble, you can be a good dribbler. When you pass, if you're off balance, you cannot be accurate. So that is where really the direct relation, knowing your body, knowing and have a knowledge that then support the technical ability. Without that, the technical ability will always be limited.
Okay, the next question, we could probably be here all night discussing this one, but it's a question, I'll paraphrase it by Jim Hannaran, is basically asking if he's been told that kids are not born with natural gifts, and there's a claim is it's possible to create a top player by just working hard and training since an early age. So it's the nature, nurture, environment. You referenced Africa earlier on, and you know, the environment developing players that can move. Obviously, some of the top players, the Messis, the Ronaldos, Pele, have all came from the environments. What's your take on the nature versus nurture? I think I've paraphrased that as best I can.
I always get confused with nature, nurture, and the stuff like that. For me, my personal opinion is that the development of a player is a puzzle. There's a lot of pieces. It go from the mental, it go from the physical, it go all in between. The talented player, the one that has talent, it comes also, some come from genetic. I think if you are born from parents that were Olympian, most likely you get some good genes from there. But that is alone, in my opinion, is not only that, is the environment. Because probably those Olympian parents is also an environment where favor that child to express and develop the talent that he has. And obviously, you know, you don't need, if you have a limited talent, you can still reach the top. We see a lot of players because they compensated with a very hard work and the mental, and that is your mental aspect, your personality. So you need a little bit of everything in there. And if you have all this area at the top, then you are the Messi, then you have the Ronaldo, then you have this type of player. But those are the one, very few and very special.
Great. Yeah, let's. Yeah, I think we're up to speed on our questions for now.
Okay, I think we are good also with timing. So just quick, all the video will be available, the one you saw tonight. But in addition, you can go on the NorCal website. From the front page, you can click coach. And from the coach, you go into the library resources, okay, which once you're there, you will see the Fiorentina course video. You click on that, and they ask you for the password, which is NorCal/Fiorentina. And you come to this page here, scrolling down at the bottom, you will have the basic motor skill, running, throwing, jumping, crawling, somersault, and you click on the video and you will see that one. I would like to conclude the psychomotor should be one of the main objectives is addressed at the young age. You coaches or DOC in the club, you can tailor your club to help the player to learn and become comfortable with as many motor skills as possible. So we need you in that. And with that said, I really want to thank you for your time and listening. And I like to also remind you, if you are interested, I will highly recommend it. The second piece of the physical is the coordination ability, which there will be a webinar Monday the 20th at the same time. Again, thank you very much and stay safe.
I just want to thank you, Paolo, for your time. As we mentioned earlier, just to reiterate, you'll receive an email in the next 24 hours, which will have a link to the presentation. All the videos, we know the first one was a little glitchy, but that's I guess the joys of live live webinars with almost 200 people on there. But we'll make sure you have access to everything. I know Paolo, I can speak for Paolo and say he'll also, think we got pretty much all the questions answered. But I know Paolo will be available if you want to email him separately. His contact information is on the website. And be sure to look for our upcoming webinars. Paolo referenced the one on Monday. We have a club development one tomorrow, which is probably aimed for, well, not just directors, but it's looking at all the legislation with the current COVID-19 and ways we can help clubs or ways the government can help clubs. Friday, Ian Mork, Director of Scouting, is going to do a presentation on talent identification. I think that's great because we all identify talent, whether it's for tryouts, whether it's for what we go about doing. So that's a great one as well. And then following Paolo next week on his coordination, we have on Wednesday we have Andrew Ziemer doing technical development as well. So we appreciate your time. We appreciate you joining. We're always open for feedback. Like we mentioned, this is only the third webinar we've done, and we want to make these better. So if you have any feedback, contact myself, drobertson@norcalpremier.com. Other than that, have a safe evening. Thanks for tuning in, and all the very best. Thank you.
David, thank you very much for moderating. Good job.
Grazie. Ciao.